What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Thursday. It might be a wild ride because the sun may rise in the east, but not for Easton, as the second Celsius in the morning is open and they are trying to consume as much caffeine as possible because it is what, day three for you guys?
Day 34.
Yes. The NFL Combine off and rolling very, very fast, and a lot of things to discuss. Today is a loaded show. We have a lot of stuff to talk through, and I don't know if we're going to have enough time to talk about what we want to talk about as much and as deep as we want to talk about it, because the Titans cut Lloyd Cushenberry yesterday. The Titans cut Xavier Woods yesterday. Where does the starting center now land on the Titans offseason needs list? And Mike Borgonzi talked very glowingly about Jeremiah Love yesterday as the Titans GM made his rounds at the NFL Combine, talking to the Nashville Titans local media in a private session. And then on the podium, we will play some comments, a contract extension coming from one Titans young star, maybe down the road. So a lot to get to here on this Thursday morning. JT, you can do the honors here since you're the Juice King today. Tell the people what they got to do.
I am. What's up, A to Z chat? Good to see all of you this morning. Yes, you are right. I wasn't even going to pop this second Celsius, but you know what? Might as well, because we need it. It is day 3 here at the NFL Combine. How rude of the Titans, by the way, to announce the Lloyd Cushenberry news during my designated Combine nap time yesterday. How dare the Titans do that?
I think they did that on purpose.
They probably did to spite me. Either way,
I'm just glad you guys were coordinated enough to have not the same overlapping nap times.
If it had happened 30 minutes later, we both would have been asleep.
Yes, because East and I were actually on the phone when it happened.
It cut into my planned nap time.
Yes, good. I was able to.
But like the adult in the room, I was up and around to do the work in the middle of the afternoon.
Okay. We could go on and on here, but we have more
Juice
pressing
King.
things to talk about this morning. Lloyd Cushenberry cut, amongst others that we may touch on, but are not as important. A lot of good things.
That's crazy. There's just one other guy. You can't even say his name. That's crazy work.
There were other choice words about him earlier when we were planning the show that I won't put on anybody else. Either way. Yes, as Bork says, JT wanting to play the buttons so bad he's sitting on the wrong side this morning. Listen, I saw your comments yesterday.
He clocked you immediately. That's exactly why you're sitting on that side.
Had his chance with the buttons and royally screwed it up yesterday. He played like all 7, so I had to take the board away from him. Well, either way.
They're not labeled.
Good to see all of you guys this morning.
Colors.
Need a couple of things from you guys. First and foremost, if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you guys watching over there. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that bell notification so you know exactly which time we go live every single weekday morning. Helps us out quite a bit with the algorithm and all of those fun things. If you're on Facebook as well, hit that like button, like the show, lock in. Excited to get into everything this morning. We appreciate you watching over there. And Austin, I think we are ready to get rolling.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports here live on a Thursday. I'm Austin Stanley. That is JT Runkin, Easton Freeze from the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, covering the Titans and the rest of the NFL Combine, NFL Draft circuit for A to Z Sports.com. A lot of great content coming up there from you guys across the board. 7 deep at the NFL Combine for A to Z Sports company-wide. And tomorrow's show, we will see how many of those 7 can get on the show.
How many we can fit in one camera frame.
Yeah, it'll be that tomorrow's show has an opportunity to be the most entertaining disaster that we've ever done. So I know, but we go live every weekday morning at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. You can follow us there at A to Z Sports. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. And then this link right here in the chat is for our Google preferred source link. So if you want to follow A to Z Sports on Google, you do that by following us there. So when you type in A to Z Sports mock draft, Tennessee Titans mock draft, Tennessee Titans free agency, you get A to Z Sports content to show up first. That goes a long way for us, as we got to thank our sponsors because they also make things happen for everybody around. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. They're local and online at bartondrury.com. And Window Nation, take advantage of February's deal. The last couple of days to do it. Buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free with an extra 10% off the top of that. windownation.com is where to go. So a lot of things to get to. Today, the cornerbacks, safeties, and tight ends are talking, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yesterday, you guys got first impressions from the edge / linebackers. So we will get to what Mike Borgonzi said later on in the show about the 3 defensive guys at the top of this draft and see if the Titans have a feel towards who their favorite may be at this point. Mike Borgonzi also said something pretty interesting about Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love that I have to talk about today. But I think something that we did not expect to see yesterday, but it's been something that was on the table, is the cutting of starting center Lloyd Cushenberry. Easton, you had this tweet. Confirmed the Titans have released Lloyd Cushenberry. There was a team out in his 4-year, $50 million contract after year 2, and GM Mike Borgonzi has chosen to take it. It saves the team $3.4 million of cap space this offseason with a dead cap charge of $9 million. And it was also interesting to note and important to note that this was a failed physical designation for Lloyd Cushenberry. The Titans also cut starting safety Xavier Woods yesterday too. That saves them $3.8 million against the cap. So actually saved them more against the cap to cut Woods than it did Cushenberry, and only $1 million of dead cap money. So the Titans go from just a $500,000, $500K of dead cap money to right around $11 million of dead cap money by cutting Lloyd Cushenberry and Xavier Woods. I think it's unfortunate for Lloyd Cushenberry because the contract was 2 years, $30 million of fully guaranteed money. And it was also where he tore his Achilles and was playing fairly good football before he tore his Achilles, and then struggled when he came back from that Achilles tear, gave up 6 sacks this past season, missed a couple games because of a foot. I heard a report from Fox Sports Radio overnight, by the way, that he had an off-season shoulder surgery. So I don't know where that came from, but
well, there's your reasoning behind the designation,
because I didn't see that anywhere else. But
who said that?
That was the female Fox Sports Radio hourly update person who did it between the hours of when it was flipping over to 5 a.m. Central Time.
What are they hiding? Why are we burying this with a bump update at 3 in the morning?
Yeah, true.
Somebody tweet that.
I don't know.
Did you dream this? Are you sure this happened?
I heard it loud and clear.
Okay. All right.
Either way, I mean, that would make sense because you would think that, I mean, you would think that going into next season, we weren't having the Lloyd Cushenberry is going to be hurt discussion. So that is something that when that failed physical pops up, you say that's an interesting note. And I think it is important to add to the discussion. You talk about, the 2 years, essentially it was a 2-year, $30 million, as someone says, Rappaport put it out there as well. So there you go.
I'm going to go find that.
It wasn't, there's been a lot of talk over the last, 12 to 14 hours about how the Lloyd Cushenberry the Lloyd Cushenberry tenure in Tennessee was a disaster. I wouldn't go that far. I would say it was disappointing and underwhelming because he was at the time one of the young up-and-coming centers in the league that the Titans take a big swing on with Rand Carthon at the helm. It doesn't work out, but at the end of the day, first of all, it was not one of the first 2 cuts I thought we were going to see this offseason.
No.
Kind of a curveball there for sure. But it does, I think, create more questions than answers about what the team is going to do this offseason. There's been a lot of, and we'll get to all of these things here, but like they better have a good plan in place with to go after Lloyd to come after Lloyd Cushenberry.
So here's what Easton, when JT was napping, dreaming of more Celsius flavors coming out, but Easton and I were saying this is clearly not a move to save money.
Nope.
Right?
No, it makes no sense monetarily.
It's not a money-saving move. It's not a physical. The whole failed physical thing, not reporting at risk of being wrong. It seems very clear to me he got shoulder surgery, is currently recovering from said shoulder surgery, and technically is a released by failed physical guy because he could not pass a physical today, which is a thing you have to disclose when you release a guy that is not that is rehabbing something. So I don't think it has anything to do with his health. I don't think it has anything to do with. I mean, clearly has nothing to do with money. So it's a performance thing, which is fine.
Which Nick says, why are they taking away Cam Ward's snapper?
Yeah, what's the plan, boss?
Because I think they plan to upgrade Cam Ward's center.
That's cool on paper. Where's the upgrade?
No, fair. So
Let's
hey,
find
look, I'm
Let's
with
spend
you.
the next couple minutes finding him.
This is absolutely a how much do you trust Mike Borgonzi type of move, you know? Because
he's got a plan. The man doesn't make moves like this is not a plan. I just don't. I've scoured the internet. I don't know what the plan is.
Okay. Well, you did write a few things on the internet at AtoZSports.com about how the Titans can replace Lloyd Cushenberry. And another thing that you and I discussed right in real time as we were processing this is because Cushenberry missed 2 games. He missed the Jags game that was a 25-3 blowout, and he missed the Browns game where the Titans won in the snow and Tony Pollard ran for a fifth of his yards on the season. Not really.
Right.
Close. Kind of.
Roughly.
A tenth of it, honestly. More than that. But anyway.
It was like almost 200 yards that day, right?
Yeah, you're right. No, actually, a fifth wasn't that far off. So
or was it 200 yards? It was a lot of yards.
Yeah, it was a lot of yards. So Corey Levin was the center for those 2 games. The first game against the Jaguars, Tony Pollard averaged 6 yards a carry. The Titans just got down really fast because of weird stuff, and they got away from the run completely. But that was the first glimpse of, oh, wow, they can run the football.
Yep.
And then they did it a lot over the rest of the season and very well. And they did it well with Corey Levin and then with Lloyd Cushenberry back at center. And so Lloyd Cushenberry and now Corey Levin are both not on this roster because Levin is a free agent. And so I asked you kind of hypothetically processing this is, did Corey Levin's success in the run game for those 2 starts just prove that Lloyd Cushenberry is replaceable? And maybe.
Sure. So, first of all, doesn't it feel like it was more than that? When we went back and looked and it was like 2 games, in my head it was like 3 or 4. I think the specter of the Corey Levin 2025 run has grown a little bit over time as we've talked about it. The tall tale. He played really, really good in those 2 games. He was kicking butts and taking names in the run game in particular. He came in and did not skip a beat with the line as they were he came in right at the right time because the line was just starting to gel, get their footing, and the run game.
The coaching staff also kind of figured it out too.
Right, and those 2 weeks were a prime example of Mike McCoy does something in a game plan. We spend a week complaining to him about it, and then he is malleable and changes his tune the next week because of the whole run thing. Because in I remember that Jacksonville game vividly. For like 17 minutes of game time, I was like, they are running the ball really well. And then they just stopped running the ball. And they did get down, but when they stopped running it, I think they were down like 7 points, 10 points. It was not a prohibitive situation.
That was the 15-3 because it was like the Titans go up 3-0. The Jags score a touchdown. Chim fumbles the kickoff. The Jags score a touchdown. They go for 2.
Yes.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Point is, they didn't have to get away from the run that quickly. Go away, Paul. And
came over here with a smile on his face like he had something to prove. I thought it was going to be more than that.
Always worrisome. I don't know what he's up to. I don't want to be the Corey Levin hater on this, so please don't make me the Corey Levin hater on this. He's an extremely valuable swing interior offensive lineman. He should be paid accordingly. I love him on the Titans. I think I don't want to understate his value to this team or to any team that he's on. I think that he is a really solid bridge guy, transition guy. If you want to use him as the stopgap to get to the guy who's maybe developing to become the long-term answer, right. I think that he could be a fine budget option for a team in a financial pinch if they needed for a year to have a starting center that wasn't making as much money. This team obviously is as far from a financial pinch right now as you can possibly be. So I do not think it is wise to make Corey Levin just the dude going forward and make him your plan. I have not talked to anybody in professional football that feels that way. And I think I understand why fans are going to jump to it. Well, it's Corey Levin's job. But I think to your point, Austin, and I think this is the right way to look at it, it's not that he came in and proved that, like, wow, this guy is a starting center in the league. He proved that he can play that position acceptably as a fill-in. And what really was proven was that the level that Lloyd Cushenberry was playing at was eminently replaceable. by guys like that who can step in and play acceptable high floor football.
And you're paying Lloyd Cushenberry. And so here's what the Titans save. They save $3.4 million on the cap this year. Dead money this year is $9 million. But in 27, they save $12 million of cap space. So now you're looking at the long-term multi-year window, the multi-year plan. If you're saying, we have no more guaranteed money on Lloyd Cushenberry's contract, how can we, the Titans, structure the future of this and upgrade something that is upgradable with a replacement level type player and build for Cam Ward moving forward?
In a vacuum, the move makes total sense because when you look at his body of work last year, and the Achilles thing is just an unfair reality in life. I think the entire situation would have been different if he had been able to finish the back half of 2025 or 2024 rather, where he wasn't playing great up until that point, but he was new to the team. It was a line that was gelling. The quarterback was not making life very easy on the offensive line. There's a lot going on. I think that he would have finished stronger and had some momentum to carry into 2024. This year, he was a year after guy. And this upcoming year, he'll be a year after the year after guy.
He was less than a year after guy who missed all of training camp and then started week one.
Great point.
New, right?
And that was the other thing with Corey Levin, right? Like he was the fill-in starting center for the team throughout pretty much all of August. So
and before then, right? Corey Levin was the center in May, June, July, August, and then Lloyd came back in September, and things were kind of rusty. So all that makes sense. So
back to my point. Sorry, the thing that I was trying to say is that in a vacuum, this move makes sense because when you look at his body of work last year and compare it to the amount of cash he was due the next 2 years on his contract, any GM is going to say, that guy's not worth that. Cool, got it. You want to upgrade, you have money to upgrade. Where you start to lose me on making sense is when you look at the options. So let's dive into the options now.
Yep, and so we're going to ask this, JT, if you want to throw this in the chat, now would be the time to do that. Where does starting center now rank among the Titans' top offseason needs with the cutting of Lloyd Cushenberry? Where does starting center now rank among the top offseason needs for the Titans after the cutting of Lloyd Cushenberry? We'll get to all of your thoughts on that one from the chat. We'll also get to replacement options for Lloyd Cushenberry at center. But first, I'm going to tell you guys all about my friends at windownation.com. Windownation.com is where to go. You only have a few days left to take advantage of a great February deal, which is a buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free, with an extra 10% off at the top of that at windownation.com. I don't have the March deal yet, so I don't know how the deal changes. If this is so, hey, this is a great deal because you're going to save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars by going to windownation.com. You get a free estimate. Roy, if you're in Middle Tennessee, we'll come over to your house. It's an hour appointment. It's kind of like a science presentation. It's pretty cool, and you'll learn some things. But you'll also have a zero pressure experience on your new windows. So if new windows are on your list of projects to do for your home, jump on this opportunity. It's buy 4 windows, get 4 windows for free with an extra 10% off the top of that. And Window Nation helps you out with whatever your financing needs are. The monthly payments, I'm sure you're going to pay like more on whatever streaming combination things that you pay for these days. There'll be more than your window payments. So it's really not that big a deal whatsoever. So check them out online at windownation.com. Make sure you hit that like button, like the show. If you have not, we need way more likes because I don't know what's going on with YouTube. You guys need to hit the like button. Facebook,
wake up.
Yes, if Easton woke up for this show,
you can like the show.
We're at 50% on Facebook too. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. All right. So, JT, I'll send you the chat.
Alrighty.
What are people saying on where the starting center job now ranks on the Titans off-season needs list?
Orlando certainly seems that it's more important than cornerback because
real quick timeout. Steven, just to clear this up, Steven says we have a center in Levin. No, you don't. Corey Levin is a free agent.
Also, but like at the same time, I do want to touch on this. Corey Levin is going into his 8th year in the league.
I believe so. 32 years old.
I mean, are we that worried about Corey Levin potentially going to a different team? He has been guy that has been he's been playing this type of role for the Titans for so long and continues to be on their practice squad and continues to be there, and they sign him just off the street, cut him, sign him again year after year after year. I'm not exactly worried that Corey Levin is in danger of going somewhere else.
I'm not super worried about it, but I do think you're going to have to pay him. I don't think Corey the person wants to go anywhere. But also, he did play well last year, the best we've seen from him. As we're about to talk about, the options at center are real bleak, whether it's free agency or the draft that you're looking at. And there are teams that need center. So he would have a market.
Basically, Corey Levin's key card is always going to work. It just depends on, like, where is he on the roster?
He has been cut and signed to the practice squad and elevated from the practice squad and put back on the practice squad and then elevated to the active roster and then cut more times than I can count.
But we're talking about like a legitimate contract. Like, it might be 1 year.
He's going to get a real,
yeah,
not roster gymnastics, not vet men contract.
He has been used as the pawn so many times on, like, you know, you would walk into the locker room and you got an email 2 hours before that the Corey Levin was
This is
cut,
the funniest part.
And he's in there. You're like, what are you doing here?
The number of times I've seen that man in the flesh in a locker room when he is technically not on the team. I need a second hand to count them.
Yes. So anyway, back to the chat. Where does this rank? Where does the starting center position rank on offseason needs right now for the Titans?
Yes, as I was saying, Orlando says it's 3 behind edge and wide receiver.
Whoa.
So having it jump up in front of cornerback, which, by the way, might I remind people, the only cornerbacks on the roster for the Titans right now are Marcus Harris, a piece of lint, and a penny.
Hey, L'Jarius Sneed, how dare you?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, he did have an update about that, but L'Jarius Sneed is still recovering.
Was it an update? Yeah.
From Mike Borgonzi, so that's how that's going.
The sun rose. The grass is green.
Guy thinks it's number 1 for the Titans. It's the biggest need now.
Interesting.
Cam says that it is still behind edge, wide receiver, and cornerback. Trevor also thinks that it is a top priority. It is the top priority here. Titans Kyle thinks it's 3rd. Nick thinks it's 3rd, ahead of wide receiver. So we're getting some different, I guess, positional rankings of where it is with 3rd. So edge, cornerback, center, and then wide receiver. Tall Texan says it's 5th after 3 wide receivers and a corner, and then center, and then somewhere, I guess, edges in there eventually.
No, this guy just doesn't want to rush the passer.
He does not want to rush.
He doesn't care about defense.
He says every opposing offense can have 5 seconds to throw the ball every time.
All right, so just to clear things up, we're talking about offseason needs. We're not talking about draft. This is this conversation includes free agency. Yeah.
Yes. Darius says top 4 behind. Oh, if it will let me. Hello.
It does that. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Darius, there we go. Top 4 behind edge, cornerback, and receiver. Debatable for top 3. Jeff thinks it's 2nd behind wide receiver and ahead of corner, and then edge after that, I would presume. Daniel Caribbean says edge, corner, center. Still after cornerback, wide receiver, and edge. 3. But when they sign Tyler Linderbaum or draft Logan Jones, he'll be very happy, says Bustin' Diamond. Certainly we'll get to the options out there, but I saw a lot of chatter on Twitter yesterday that it feels like this plan to a lot of people is, okay, you cut Lloyd Cushenberry, it's now Tyler Linderbaum or bust, and that seems to be the
better
sentiment.
not be, brother.
But that's what a lot of people are thinking. Adam says 2nd. Patrick says 4th. Steven says it's still behind edge, wide receiver, and cornerback.
So, all right, I think we've got a good sample size from the chat.
Yes.
For me, like, this is such a it's high, right? Like, you know, we've been talking the whole time of, like, what would be a surprise draft pick outside these 3 obvious needs positions, and now this would no longer be a surprise, right? So that's one way to answer it. But
here's something I didn't hear: is anybody ranking it worse than 4th? Right? Like, I think
except
everyone
for the
here
one guy
agrees.
who jokingly had 3 wide receivers, a cornerback, and
that guy's not real. AI chatbot. Yeah. The rest of us agree it is now clearly at worst the 4th most important thing on their to-do
and
list.
I'm going to say it this way: I think this is the number 1 free agency priority.
Okay. Interesting. Zoom out. What about
zoom out? Yeah. So
yeah.
It's the most important box to check. I'm not saying it's what you're going to spend the most on, in free agency.
But you think it's the most important need
in free agency?
Well, because zoom out. What about the whole offseason? We're talking about the offseason. Because they might go through free agency and not sign somebody.
Well, because
I'm
the
not,
draft
I'm not
is
endorsing it. I'm just saying
because
they
the
could.
draft is like it. So if they go through if they sign, let's just say they sign Corey Levin back. Let's play the hypothetical. They sign Corey Levin back for a 1 year whatever deal, but we know that he's not going to be the starting center. Like then you got to look at obviously not 4th overall for a center. There's nobody there, and that's crazy. 35 overall. I don't know. We don't know what the board is. It's an interesting class of interior offensive linemen, especially centers. But like you're talking about, if you come out of that 3rd round pick, 66 overall, and you don't have a starting center because Corey Levin's the only guy you signed, then you're kind of entering a danger zone, in my opinion.
I think so as well. You know, you look at this class, I think that's the perfect way to put it. Like, that is putting all your eggs in one basket, saying, like, you may, if you do not sign someone other than Corey Levin in free agency, you're playing a dangerous game where we talked, you know, a lot last week about how the top 3 deepest positions in the draft this year are aligning with the Titans' top 3 needs. And so it seems pretty easy to say, like, yeah, you're going to come away with 3 top 100 picks that are at those 3 needs: edge, wide receiver, corner. Now, if you would do that, right, you talk about what they pick at 63? 66. Like, I think that is the range where you, if they do that, as Travis, what's up?
That camera's on, by the
way. You look at.
We're live. We're doing stuff.
That's
Come
right.
on.
So hang on. Let's quit dancing around this. Let's just talk about the actual players.
No, I was going to say, like, 66, you're looking at potentially having to take a Logan Jones, a Connor Lew, like.
Well, Connor Lew, by the way, the Auburn center,
Not going to be there.
good.
Not 66.
He's also coming off. He also tore his ACL in middle October.
Correct. So let's run through this. Let's actually talk about the players and quit dancing. There are very few plug-and-play starting centers in this draft class. We've talked about the Titans' needs being like the top positions in terms of depth in this class. Interior offensive line is at or near the bottom in this class, and we've not talked about it a whole lot, so that may be news to some folks. Connor Lew out of Auburn tore his ACL. I believe we found it was October, right? We looked that up
October
yesterday.
18th.
And so he is a guy that would have been a first-round pick and been probably the top center, let's say that, in this class if he had not torn his ACL. He's still going to go, I think, in that Chris Bell range of round 2, like early day 2, somewhere in there. So if the Titans wanted him desperately and their grand plan was Connor Lew while Corey Levin is the bridge guy for a while, then they'd have to spend a really big pick and skip on another giant position of need, and that creates a whole new situation, whole new conversation.
For a guy who's coming off of an ACL injury after you just cut a guy who's coming off an Achilles injury.
Right.
Fair enough.
So then you get into the range of like Sam Hecht out of Kansas State and Jake Slaughter out of Florida. They seem to be like the consensus 2-3 in that range, and those guys are also going to be day 2 picks because this pool is shallow. All of these guys are going to be probably overdrafted a little bit because of teams that need centers, especially teams that need centers to play now. So the Titans would have to spend at least, I think, 66 if they wanted one of those 3 guys. Then you get to like Yager Burton out of Kentucky, Pat Coogan out of Indiana, Logan Jones out of Iowa, who we've talked a lot about. Those are all guys that, like, I'm looking at PFF's board right now. They're at like 125, 166, 192. I'd bet anything that all 3 of them are not falling that far because, again, I think they get pushed up the board.
Yeah, I've had Iowa's Logan Jones like as my mock draft simulator pick 101, like you know, kind of almost by default if I don't like anything else there. You know? I'm
kind of with you. Like if you wanted to like plant your flag on one player, it's like at least I guess a position for 101 if they're still there. Like if we go into day 3 and like Logan Jones is still there at 101, I feel really good about this team just like doing that.
I was doing that with Lloyd Cushenberry on the roster.
True. Yes.
And so now this is very different. And so, all right. So that's the draft. Tyler Lindenbaum's out there as the free agent option. The Ravens mentioned this week at the Combine that they have a market
setting
offer on the table.
Ain't no way. We'll put that in between the Brandon Ayuk, or excuse me, not Brandon Ayuk, the Alec Pierce and the George Pickens files. We're going to slide Linderbaum right there in the middle between the 2 of them. So
ain't no way to the Titans, right?
Ain't no way to anybody but the Ravens. Put them out of like I will come on this show and mea culpa until the cows come home if they end up making a Godfather offer for him. They have the money to do it, and if that's their grand plan, like in terms of talent, thumbs up. You're going to overpay for him if you end up getting him somehow. But I don't see it happening, man.
They
Ain't no way.
just had the Titans reset the center market with Lloyd Cushenberry, the most guaranteed money in free agency for any center in NFL history at the time. So then, all right, other options. I believe that the Packers center is also a free agent. There's a couple others. Cade Mays, Vols legend, I say with air quotes.
Connor McGovern's probably the next best option out of Buffalo. He's another guy. I wouldn't file him quite in the same ain't no way file. We can close that file and open up a probably no way file for him because he is somebody that is a plug-and-play starting center. He's a veteran. I don't know how old he is, but he's on the older side.
Who?
McGovern.
McGovern is 28. He's going to be
so he's not as old as I thought.
He'll be 28 still in next year.
So if he somehow comes available and he's your choice, he's going to be expensive, but that would be a suitable upgrade option. I would give that a thumbs up.
Spotrac has his market right now, current like AAV at 16.2.
Yeah, so pay up. That's kind of where the thumbs up for me ends, Austin. You mentioned Cade Mays, like, okay, you feel good about that?
I don't trust Cade Mays.
Here's what frustrates me, is the fact, and again, I'm not saying that Cushenberry was this guy and they got rid of him. Like, performance-based, he was not good enough last year at all. But this line, we've spent so long renovating this line, and I know in the NFL, like, things move fast. You can never really truly set and forget a position group. But you've got a young tackle on one end and a relatively young tackle on the other. You have a young anchor of the line in Peter Skoransky, who you're about to pay and make or hope to make a Titan for life, right? You still need a right guard solution, but I think that there are a lot more avenues to find a young, long-term plan guy of the future there. And I was kind of looking forward to this line being kind of set for the next couple of build a core. Continuity is whenever you talk to anybody in professional football about continuity, and it's important everywhere, obviously, but it may be important. It may be more important on the offensive line than anywhere else, honestly.
I'd say defensive backs, safeties, corners, and then working together are the next, but like offensive line by far. It's like huge. It's the whole 5 fingers got to be a fist type thing, you know?
It's
like
cliche, but it is just true. Yeah. It is just
true.
True.
And so the Lloyd Cushenberry cut is clearly not a money cut. It is a thought, and the Titans clearly believe that they can upgrade from Lloyd Cushenberry. Jackson Slater's also on the roster as going into his second year as a day 3 pick. That could be an option in-house as well. So look, who knows what's going to happen, but I think it's arguably the top veteran need on this team.
Okay.
Free agent need.
Over cornerback? Because
we're talking about the guy who's giving the ball to Cam Ward every damn play.
Right.
Right.
You know? Screw cornerback if you don't have that guy.
Here's what's new on my investigation list here in Indianapolis, and I'm hoping in the next day or two I have a couple people in mind who would be smarter about this, way smarter than me. I have recently, kind of random, but it's popped up in my head, the protection situation in the league, like setting protections as an offensive line. The trend in the league right now is that offenses are really struggling to match the defensive advancements that teams like the Seahawks are pushing. And this is a big conversation around the Super Bowl because tape grinders went back and watched that game, and all they could talk about was how the Patriots offensive line would not adjust to get the protections right. And that was a big part of the problem why Drake May was under a lot of pressure. Now, the Seahawks are awesome at rushing. They were putting them in conflict, so I don't want to take away from the Seahawks. But that's the reality, is there are ways to fix this, but their protection rules, and it's not just the Patriots, it's a lot of teams right now, are behind. They need fixing. And the guy who's setting the protections is the center and the quarterback. So I want to get to the bottom of how big a deal that is, because some like cornerback to me is so plug and play. Like, just get a guy in there that can play. You know, can he hang physically? Mentals are important. I get that. But at center, it is so much more than just, can you hang physically? Are you fine in a vacuum? It is about, can you lead a group and set the protections and keep this young quarterback from dying?
There's the irony that I find currently with the cutting of Lloyd Cushenberry is when Cam Ward was drafted, I remember him talking about 2 players that he was excited to build relationships with: Lloyd Cushenberry and Calvin Ridley. And the Titans put his locker between those 2 guys.
That's right.
One guy is gone. The other guy could be.
At this point, yeah. I think we kind of had our, finger on the pulse of, this is probably what they're going to do. And then I think everything is back on the table, especially with Calvin Ridley there.
Yep. All right, let's switch gears here. Easton, you brought it up. Let's hear what Mike Borgonzi said yesterday about Peter Skoransky when asked about the potential to extend Skoransky's contract versus the fifth-year option they'd have to pick up after the draft this May.
Peter, he's one of our better players, and we like him here long term. And the fifth-year option is always a tool, a mechanism you can use. But we're going to work to try to get something done here with Peter.
So
Short and sweet, but
the fifth-year option's a tool. We're trying to get something done sooner rather than later. So,
yes.
When we did our mock off season, we thought, should we extend Peter Skoransky?
That was dumb. I should have pushed harder for that. That was dumb.
You're the one who said no.
I know. I said no to keep our game simple, but in my head I was like, they're going to do this. I believe what I said was I think it's going to happen, but maybe later in the summer.
Well, let's not worry about it right now.
Right, like I mentioned it being like later in the summer, in season. No, that's dumb. They're going to do it now. And he mentioned, by the way, that quote was the on the record, or it's all on the record, on the camera quote.
Yeah.
Before this, in our media session, and I wish I had the quote pulled up, but he said something even stronger to the effect of, we like to get guys like this signed early.
Yeah, and basically, we're going to do it, is
Right.
basically what he said.
Which, good.
Yes.
Smart.
Yeah, great. Awesome.
Why wait?
All right,
Why?
so let's see what Mike Borgonzi had to say about the three edge rushers that we've spent the last few weeks discussing here. Mike Borgonzi on Ruben Bain, David Bailey, and Arvell Reese, who also corrected something that happened yesterday too. But real quick, the Bone and Joint Institute is where you should turn, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. When injuries happen in life, you have to know the person you can trust, the company you can trust, and that is the Bone and Joint Institute. Whether I've had grown up adult, like getting older type injuries over the last several years of things bothering me that happened back when I was a teenager. Now, years later, decades later, that shoulder gets a little sore, the lower back, foot issue, whatever that may be. The Bone and Joint Institute has been able to help me out with physical therapy, with some different tricks of the trade of how to go through those different getting older ailments. Or if you do have a sports injury, maybe your son or daughter has a youth sports injury, they can take care of them as well online and in Franklin, boneandjointtn.org.
Like the show.
Button. Yes.
Subscribe to the show.
Like it.
Share the show.
Subscribing is free. It's on YouTube.
Everything we just said is free. All of it.
Everything's free. We don't ask you for money here. We have never done that. We actually have some plans maybe down the road because there's some cool stuff that we have up our sleeves. Just a little wink, wink, nod, nod.
About asking for money?
We have some really cool stuff that we're building behind the scenes that I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
we'll see.
But it would be worth it because it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, I like cool stuff.
Yeah, we're going to have free cool stuff too like this. But like the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell notification. All right.
Nice.
Mike Borgonzi covered it all. Mike Borgonzi asked his impressions of the top three edge rushers of Arvell Reese, who said it's not Vel. I don't know how Vel got on my nameplate. It's Arvell. So we're back to Arvel and Shelville.
We're back to having all of the aura.
Yes.
He has regained all of his.
We can put his name back on the board. We've taken it off. We got to get it out of the dustbin.
It was upside down. As Vel, it was upside down. Now it's upside up.
Mm-hmm.
So Arvell Reese at Ohio State, Ruben Bain out of Miami, and David Bailey out of Texas Tech. Here is the Titans GM.
You're right. They bring a little bit of different flavor, all three of them. Bain is more of a big end power player that can kick down inside a little bit. Bailey has the speed off the edge, impressive. He's got some length. And then Arvell has played everywhere. He's played off the ball, he's played on the line of scrimmage. Another guy that has length. He's got some snap in his hips. So all three of those guys are impressive.
Some snap in his hips. Man, if that's not a scouting term.
I like it.
I love that one. He's got some snap in his hips. Okay. Let's ask this question. So, JT, you can throw this in the chat now, too. Do you have any feel if the Titans have a favorite of these three at the moment? Do we have a read on the Titans' favorite of these three at the moment? Now, here's something to also note. This group is the first to hit the field at the combine, right?
Yes.
D-line and edge. Is that today?
That's today.
Today, baby.
And
And
they're
I've
competing
heard
for the most part.
Arvell Reese, is
competing.
David Bailey.
David
Bailey
is.
is. Ruben Bain scared. I'm sorry, is not.
What'd you say?
What?
Huh? Here's the thing, by the way. Can I mention the competition thing from the Titans? I don't want to glaze over this. And I'm writing this today. The Titans brass right now is very firmly and vocally team compete, which I love just spiritually. When we asked both Saleh and Borgonzi about this the past 2 days, they did not shy away from answering, yeah, we want these guys to compete. I believe Saleh said, if you have nothing to hide, you can come compete. And then yesterday, Borgonzi said, we want these guys to compete, and when they don't, at the end of our meetings with them, we ask them why. We were like, hey, what's up? Like, why aren't you doing this? Because we want you to compete. He said, if you're hurt, it's one thing, fine. But we asked him, okay, well, did you then ask Bain about that at the end of his meeting? And he was like, yep, sure did. He's going to do his stuff at the pro day. And
So
he's like, that's fine. You know, it's whatever.
yeah,
But
so Ruben Bain played a lot of football games. And,
he did.
And played a lot of snaps in those football games as Miami went on a run as an underdog and winning multiple playoff games throughout all of that. So, trade,
What just happened?
Sweat, what?
What happened? What happened?
Tom Pelissero, breaking news.
For Jermaine Johnson.
Interesting. Wow.
To the Jets.
Wow. Hey,
Okay.
reuniting with Travis Brownlee.
The
Jr.
Jets want all of the Titans locker room question marks.
All right. So if somebody, I'm going to shake some things up a little bit. We will change and reroute. So damn it, I will not get a chance to talk about Jeremiah Love today.
You will not. Wow. That
All right.
is something.
Instant reaction. The Titans are trading Tavondre Sweat to the Jets for D-end Jermaine Johnson. That is per sources. It sounds like currently it is a 1-for-1. We do have what Robert Saleh said about Tavondre Sweat just 2 days ago.
Yes.
So as we're processing, here is 47 seconds of the Titans head coach talking about his former nose tackle, Tavondre Sweat.
I'll address Sweat first. We had a guy in 2000, I want to say 20, I think it was 23, maybe 22, L. Woods, who was just as big, just as fast, just as fleet of foot. Obviously it's going to be we're going to ask things of him that are different than what he's done in the past, but one thing he has shown on tape is he can get numbers, which we need our D-line to be able to do. They need to be able to run, and that is something that he can do. He's a big man. He's got much faster feet than people realize. Is it going to be easy for him? It's not. It is a lot of work. It is physically demanding to play D-line in our system. But I do think he's up to the task. Have had great conversations with him, and I'm excited to see him get to work.
Wow.
So that's a massive change of tune. Massive change of tune.
Yes.
Yeah, they got me on that one. I really didn't think that they were going to do that. But I will say, part of the reason why I didn't think that they would do that is because if you had floated this trade idea to me on the show the other day, I would have told you I just don't think the Jets go for I don't think you were going to get that kind of compensation for Sweat. That was a big part of the reason why I was like, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm not surprised that when they saw this was an option, took it. That doesn't surprise me even a little bit because Jermaine Johnson was Saleh's former first-round pick.
One of them that year.
One of three that year, right?
Yes.
He is somebody that has underperformed a bit to his draft stock like Tavondre Sweat has on paper.
Well, I mean...
On paper.
Yeah. It is tough for him, right? Because we have to remember that Jermaine Johnson tore his ACL in the game against the Titans 2 years ago in 2024. Missed all of that year. Last year was the year. So essentially, you're getting Jermaine Johnson on the year after the year here.
This is right.
After the ACL.
Was he like the 18th pick? What was he?
He was like 26. He was their third of three.
He was 26.
Okay.
Told you.
But in his first 2 years, in 2022 and 2023, had 9.5 sacks total. His rookie year, 2.5 sacks there in 2023. The year before the ACL, where he was an ascending player, he had 7.5 sacks. One forced fumble in a fumble recovery. Had 55 total tackles, with 36 of those being solo tackles there. Played all 17 games that year in his best season. And then, of course, 2024 had the injury. Comes back in 2025, so the year after the ACL there, has 3 sacks, 43 total tackles, 22 solo. And so I think this is, for me, instant reaction here. Big thumbs up. This is Robert Saleh gets his guy that he brought in to help change that Jets defensive line in 2022. He's a guy that understands the system. He's a guy that can play, like we were talking about. You're going to have these guys rotating all over the defensive line. He's a guy that already understands that. He's a guy that's going to contribute there, and I think I love it. And unfortunately for Sweat, right, maybe that is one of those things, like you were saying there, you know, Sweat was a second-round pick. You're kind of playing off that high potential there. Certainly didn't have a bad year by any means, but I think for what Robert Saleh wants to run, a 1-for-1 here, like you were saying. If you would have proposed this trade, I would have been like, the Jets never do that, but apparently they will, and Aaron Glenn gets yet another guy that he's going to have to work with, and hopefully that their culture is going to help that guy out in New York.
What culture? I mean, like the Aaron Glenn's superpower of play calling is going to help out Devondre Sweat.
I think this is a steal for the Titans.
I am suspicious that this is a player-for-player trade. Like, that's why
there's got to be more, right?
I'm not surprised that they made this trade. I am surprised that this trade was on the table if it's truly player-for-player.
Yes.
You think the Titans send something else?
I mean,
I would think so.
Yeah.
Because if it's player-for-player, that is a huge win for the Titans. It's like almost like kind of a fleece.
I understand the diminishing value that Johnson is going to be up to be paid a whole lot of money very soon, and Sweat still has years of cost control. Like, that's part of this. And I'm doing the rough value in my head. Like, so Sweat was the 38th overall pick in 2024. Johnson was the 26th overall pick in 2022. Johnson obviously has dealt with a significant injury, but has been more productive as a more productive in general in the NFL than Sweat has so far.
Tom Pelissero says a rare straight player-for-player trade. Nothing else included.
So I got to put my hand up on being wrong about them trading him, but it's purely because I am shocked that they found this value in a trade. I would never in a million years have guessed they'd find this.
So Adam Schefter also says the trade puts the Jets squarely in position to take the top DN in the draft with a number 2 overall selection.
Yes.
So, and that makes sense, right? Because Jermaine Johnson's gone. So Arvell Reese / David Bailey. And so that's something that I saw there too. There's a lot to react to here, by the way. If you just jumped in here, like the show on Facebook, on YouTube, do that for us. That goes a long way. Like the show, hit that like button. We have completely shaken up our show as the Titans have shaken up the roster.
I told you we won't talk about Jeremiah Love this morning. I told you.
Damn it. We're going to have to do that at some point. But Lloyd Cushenberry cut, Xavier Woods cut, 2 starters cut. Now Devondre Sweat traded to the New York Football Jets for Jermaine Johnson for a player-to-player trade straight up for Tom Pelissero. And so the Jets now have Sweat. The Titans get Jermaine Johnson, who is a former first-round draft pick of the Jets when Robert Saleh was a head coach just a few years ago. Johnny says in the super chat, immediate reaction, Titans don't draft the end at 3 now. So, I mean, I'll leave that up on the board a little bit longer, but I don't necessarily think like this should not affect the Titans' draft decision at all.
This is the kind of move you were hoping to see made at some point before the draft, whether it would be trade or free agency, to set the floor at a position so that you don't feel like you absolutely have to take edge at 4th overall. I'm with you, Austin, that I don't think it takes it off the table by any means, but it does what the Titans needed to accomplish at some point in the next month, which is get yourself to a position where you don't feel handcuffed to any one position at 4th overall. So, done.
But I think like the Titans were going to need a Jermaine Johnson level edge free agent anyway.
No, I was going to say, I think this is, if you want to say that this replaces something, I don't necessarily think it replaces what they do it for. I think it's what they do in free agency. This is another thing we talked about yesterday. Or I guess you talked to Mike Borgonzi about it yesterday. You talk about the top positional value in the free agency market, right? It is something that he noted that, like, you basically asked him, like, what are you seeing in free agency? What are the top positions? He immediately said edge. And then after that, took a beat and then said cornerback and wide receiver. So, I think this is one where, like you said, he is going to have to get paid soon enough. I think this is one of those where you essentially are getting him in free agency. You're going to have to pay him if this is what this move is. This is not a one-year thing. I think you're looking to trade for him and pay him.
What is that, though? So what is the situation with Jermaine Johnson's contract again? I think you mentioned it earlier.
2022 draft pick, which means he will be first.
He's a free agent in 27. This is the last year of his deal.
Right.
So this is the 5th-year option deal.
Correct.
Yes.
It's the 5th-year option year. He was the same class as Breece Hall, who is going to hate his life on a franchise tag.
Poor Breeze. Moment of silence for Breeze.
So, yeah, no kidding. All right, so this is the 5th-year option year for Jermaine Johnson. So are they going to extend him? Because I'm guessing that 5th-year option is a bigger cap hit than what a fresh contract would be. So $13 million per spot track, according to Nick in the chat there. So appreciate that, Nick.
Correct. Yeah, his cap hit right now is $13 million, right there.
Nick just said that. JT.
I was looking for the rest of the numbers.
Don't doubt Nick.
He was just confirming. He was continuing the conversation.
I don't know why I was getting yelled at.
I'm on edge here. I hate when this happens on a show.
I know, and I'm trying to do something, and something froze here. So
player for player confirmed pending physicals from Titans just now.
Well, the Titans physical's been going recently. They can do whatever they want with that physical result. So
back
do you
to
extend?
I think it does really. While you guys do your thing, this to me doesn't rule out edge at 4. I really think that this is one of those, because yesterday we continue to talk about this, and we'll talk about it more as we learn more about the Titans' philosophy this draft, and just hearing from what Mike Borgonzi said at the podium, right? Had a lot of things, and maybe this is more so because he was asked directly about this, but like for each player, Reese, Bain, Bailey, and he talked about different flavors there. He had a lot of things to say about them and continues to hype up both the edge position in the draft and in free agency. He was also asked about the top 3 wide receivers at the top of the draft, and he said, yeah, there's some good dudes. Carnell Tate and, Lemon and Tyson are up there. And that's we were talking about this. It's kind of the Rorschach test of, like, is he not talking about them because he wants to take them, or is he not talking about them because they're not going to take them?
It just confirms your priors. If you think they're taking an edge, you're like, well, he's not even talking about the receivers because he's not even watching the receivers.
But it's undeniable to say, like, he had a lot more things to say on record, like, very definitively about edge rushers, and wanted to, even you talked about that, some scouting terms about these guys and some descriptives of each guy, whereas he kind of was asked the same question for the wide receivers, and had an opportunity to talk about Carnell Tate there, just named him, didn't do the same thing he was doing with the edge rushers. And that makes me continue to think that this is an opportunity for the Titans, kind of like what they did with the offensive line last year, but in a different way, like to set this is going to be your set and forget, right? You now have Jeffrey Simmons, you have Jermaine Johnson, and you have whoever you take at 4, and that instantly takes and you also have Femi Oladejo, which is continuing to get a lot of his flowers and continuing to get hyped up here. He is a guy. This entire line is now basically going from just a bunch of guys rotationally to a very well-respected defensive line unit in the span of 5 months.
This is a take that clearly I've not, it's not fully baked because it popped in my mind about 13 seconds ago, but I'm just going to say it anyways because we're live. Yeah. This emboldens me even further to take an edge at 4. Like, it makes me want to take an edge at 4 more now, because I am a sucker for doubling down on a strength, like turn a strength into a stronger strength. And at edge, if you can be deep and have high-end talent, which Jermaine Johnson, 5th-year player, 13 seconds, like he's capable of being a high-end edge rusher. Is he capable of being a true alpha? We'll see. I wouldn't say he's shown that so far, but he's clearly the best edge the Titans have had on this roster since pre-ACL Harold Landry. Is that fair?
I think so. I actually would push back. I think he was one of the most dominant edge rushers in 2024 before
Briefly.
the ACL.
Sure.
I mean,
And that was
we
week
talked
2.
about
In
sorry,
one game and a
23.
quarter.
23.
I meant 2023 because
Okay.
I was going to go into. You were thinking that he was going to continue that tear, and it was something that I remember when the Jets came to town and played the Titans. It's like you have to stop Jermaine Johnson, otherwise you're going to lose the game. And then he goes out with that injury that game. I do think this is a play to get your guy in house and double up at edge. I think this is an opportunity to set and forget that and focus on other areas of free agency. Now you don't have to necessarily, you can, once again, kind of cost control your next 2 years for edge rusher instead of paying the big money in free agency up front, getting that new deal with Jermaine Johnson. And this gives you the opportunity to go out and actually pay that market value for a top corner, for a top guy there.
See, boys and girls, this is why we don't say things out loud on a live show when we're reacting, because I just changed my mind. Because I forgot about this element of this yesterday, I was just about to bring this up in our conversation before this news broke. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, and I can't play this for you because it was in an audio version only of our meeting with Borgonzi yesterday. And I was planning on writing it today. Now I'm not sure what I'll do with it. I asked him for kind of just a 10,000-foot view of the free agent class. I was like, how do you feel about the class as a whole? Any particular strengths at certain positions? Like, what's your feel for the free agency? And he, without skipping a beat, jumped right to, he goes, I think there's a pretty strong group of edge rushers and also cornerbacks and receivers. Like, there was a beat. The way that he presented it, I swear maybe I'm reading too much into it. But in the moment, I was like, dude, that clocked with me because I'm not sure I agree with that. I was looking a minute ago at the list of pending free agents. Now, maybe he is expecting or knows more than I do about who will actually hit the market. There are some guys that are strong who are technically set to hit free agency. Trey Hendrickson, obviously, is one of them, but then guys like Jalen Phillips, Adafe Owe, those guys Oh, yeah, Mafe too. Okay, so those are guys that I am kind of expecting to be retained by their team eventually. But if I said it earlier on our show like a week or two ago, if somehow Jalen Phillips pops free and the Titans want to send an irresponsible amount of money for him, that's like the only move that I would give a thumbs up to that's really expensive. And so all of that is to say, turning a strength into a strength, if they go the route, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they go the route in free agency of collecting bodies that are 10, 12, $13 million AAV contracts. They prioritize having depth and a hockey rotation of guys that you can throw at the quarterback over having like one true alpha that you draft at 4, and then open themselves up to embolden the offense with Cam Ward. If like that's another route that I could see happening. Does that make sense?
I think so, absolutely. Here's something that just also came across my desk here from Connor Hughes. He said, the 49ers, with Robert Saleh at DC, offered the Jets a third-round pick for Jermaine Johnson at the deadline last year. Jets wanted a 2. Now, a few months later, Saleh gets Johnson from the Jets for Sweat. So it sounds like Saleh's been after his boy, reuniting with him for quite a while.
But this is what I'm talking about. Like, when we talked about potential Devondre Sweat trades, what did we all say for the past 6 months? He was the 38th overall pick. You're not going to get a second-round pick value in return for the guy, and that's why they're not going to make a trade. That right there tells me that the Jets, as of the trade deadline a couple of months ago, were valuing Jermaine Johnson as a second-round pick, and they have now traded that second-round value straight up for Devondre Sweat. So I guess I was wrong. I guess you can get a second-round value for Devondre Sweat. Whoops.
A former first-round
Shout
pick.
out the Jets.
Yeah, like the show. The Jets are now taking 2.
Is their table still around here? Oh, they packed up and left. They were right behind
The
us.
New York
They're-
Jets
They
are
were,
scared
yeah.
to
They're no
compete
longer here.
They're scared to compete now.
That's
because of
I was
this.
about to call them over here.
So the thing about Devondre Sweat, we talked about this yesterday some. I'm glad we did because I do feel like Devondre Sweat could fit in Robert Saleh's defense, but it was all about does he fit within their culture that they're trying to build. And Devondre Sweat is not a bad person.
Nope.
Not a bad person at all. Is he a disciplined person? I think that is a fair question to ask.
Yes.
Based off of what we know and the track record of his college career and now the first couple of years in the NFL. Rand Carthon took the PJ to T'Vondre Sweat's mom's house in Texas, and they went all in to figure out how they can get T'Vondre Sweat to be the T'Vondre Sweat that won the Outland Trophy his last year in college. I wonder how much, and we have discussed that T'Vondre Sweat was not a thorn, maybe a thorn in a splinter in the Titans side of figuring things out throughout the offseason. He had the tonsils removed in training camp that cost him some time as well. So there's been some stuff, and I think T'Vondre Sweat, not a bad person, but more of a undisciplined person that they didn't want to have to continue to deal with moving forward under this new structure, and getting a guy in Jermaine Johnson that Robert Saleh is like, I want this guy. I drafted this guy. I took the trade for him last year with a different franchise. Now I've got him now. Joshua asked a question. Wonder how Big Jeff feels. Easton, I don't know if you want to take this. Wonder how Big Jeff feels about this.
I'm sure he's bummed and not surprised. Big Jeff understands the big picture here, and I think pour one out for that Airbnb that now has to get canceled, I suppose. I'm sure they'll probably still train together. I'm sure that plan will follow through, and if Sweat is still interested in it, he and Jeff will probably still work together in the offseason. But I think that Jeff, whatever sadness is in his heart, will be assuaged by the fact that as a pass rusher, Jeff Simmons' job just got a wee bit easier, yeah?
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely agree. So
I also just think you talked about the work ethic questions, like sending him to New York. I am very interested to see how that works out for a guy like Sweat.
What are the New York Jets cooking?
Exactly.
What are they doing up there? I got
because
questions.
They have a head coach that's a dead man walking, like literally.
I don't know. He brought in some interesting staff members who's going to fix this thing, man. You know, Frank Reich is going to fix this.
Yeah, listen.
Can you pull up Jermaine Johnson's alignment on PFF? Like, I'm curious where he most aligned last year.
Do you want in the solid defense or just last year?
That's, you know what, both. That's
okay,
a good call.
I will. I'll need a second to vamp, but
because this would be a little clue into what kind. Not that you can't draft a redundancy if you like an edge rusher at the top better than the other edge rushers. You take the best player, but he's 6'5", 262
apparently, according to.
Okay, here's a good question. Oh,
what?
I'm going to ask this question here in a second.
Oh gosh, I thought there was more news. You scared me.
No. So you said which of the ends is Jermaine Johnson for Gus Bradley? But first, let me tell you guys
I'm trying to get at.
About Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs. BartonDrury.com, local in the mid-state area. Their phone number right there on the screen, 615-806-1265. BartonDrury.com, the website. So make sure that you can trust them with whatever insurance needs you may have, whether it's personal, home, auto, life insurance, whether it's your health coverage, dental, vision, 401k planning. They literally have everything. Great customer service, great people. We use them at A to Z Sports for multiple things as well. BartonDrury.com. Here live on the show. Make sure you hit that like button. We're reacting live. We're kind of processing in real time. The Titans traded T'Vondre Sweat to the Jets for Jermaine Johnson. And so now my question that I just asked that you guys were kind of working on is where will Jermaine Johnson play? Because Gus Bradley mentioned last week that they want a wide nine, faster, quicker, rush the edge guy, or a 5-tech that's going to be your bigger, stronger. So Ruben Bain, bigger, stronger, or athletic guy to get after the passer. Right. When it comes to like a David Bailey. So which one of these guys is now Jermaine Johnson, and does that tell us anything about the 4th overall draft pick?
So this is 2023. This is
his best year.
Best year and with Saleh. Played roughly 700 defensive line snaps, and 400 of them came as the right outside linebacker, 175-ish of them came as the left outside linebacker. The vast majority of his snaps
and then
were as the
71, I guess another 111-ish at ends, left and right end.
Right.
So, I mean, once again, you have one spot, but going back to this idea that
primarily an outside guy.
So he is the David Bailey. He is the David Bailey slot, right?
Right.
Yes.
But let's not, another thing that we were going to get to today, let's not forget that Femi Oladejo exists.
Yes.
And they may very well be.
That's the same slot too.
Well, are we sure about this?
I think so.
I think so too. I want to ask more about, maybe by the end of today I'll have better answers about what because so much of their talk about Femi has been about how they're changing what they want him to do. So I've got some questions on that front.
I think the Jets are between Reese and Bailey. I think there's a strong chance that Bailey does not get to the Titans.
And this is something going back to the question we posted in the chat before our entire show got nuked. Which do the Titans prefer right now? Like there were some questions about. I was very impressed with David Bailey, and you talk about yes, if the Titans are leaning a certain edge right now, maybe it's Bane, just because we've talked to them about Bane so much that they just by
Well, Top Titan said this. I clocked this. Top Titan said that Borgonzi mentioned Bane first.
I
don't know if he was asked in that
who
order.
asked that. Corey Curtis asked the question.
Corey Curtis
and
asked the question.
I think
he asked it Bane, Bailey, Reese.
I was about to say, I think we incepted this for him because in the
Agreed.
private session before then, we also asked him the most about Bane. So Bane was on his mind more than the others because of us.
Yeah, because he went from talking to you guys to the podium back to back.
Right.
If I had, just from what I know about Mike Borgonzi, too, though, this was going to be my answer, and maybe this is not going to happen now because, like you said, Bailey might be off the board at 2. But we talked all last offseason about how much Mike Borgonzi loves high-character guys who come from good schools, who are leaders in their locker room, who are made of the right stuff mentally. And getting to talk to David Bailey yesterday, I was very impressed with him in his character and just listening to him talk. He was a guy that graduated in 3 years from Stanford, transferred to Texas Tech to go play at another level. But once again, a Stanford guy who's very smart, made of the right stuff, has it all up there mentally. You take those, and then also is the guy who can off the edge. He has the speed, he has the burst, he has more bend than Bane, even though he doesn't have the power. I know those are still questions about him. In terms of bend, it's Reese, Bailey, Bane. Power is a different story there. But if you're asking me, that was going to be my answer because I think he is the Borgonzi type of player, following that mold of what they drafted last year. So so to your point, he may not be on the board there. And so then you're looking at Bane, Reese, Arvell Reese, Bane, and then potentially Carnell Tate and Jahmyr Gibbs. I know we're not going to really get to it, but does this put, not Gibbs, Love, but they continue to comp Jahmyr Gibbs to him. Does this put Jeremiah Love on the table at 4? I mean, this is both Robert Saleh and Mike.
It doesn't take him off the table.
No, I think this honestly, the Titans.
Because I'm kind of doing the same thing that Easton
guys.
was doing.
I think I'm with you. I was with you guys yesterday morning about the offense options at 4th overall. This is now so much change because the domino effect of Lloyd Cushenberry and now the Tavondre Sweat for Jermaine Johnson trade, I think creates so many different directions this could go.
Yes.
Because
I don't want to overreact to this because it is the first big. Well, so here's why.
I'm talking both of them.
It's fun.
You have have some fun. Lighten up, Francis.
No, I'm trying to take a big picture view because again, if this hadn't happened this morning, we were talking about the things that if we did a show that was,
I would still be talking about offensive guys at 4.
Yes, but not what I'm talking about. Listen to me.
Okay.
If we did a show premised today on what the Titans must accomplish between now and draft day to set themselves up to be responsible in the draft, setting floors at certain positions, getting to a place where they don't handcuff themselves to this, that, or the other, this kind of move would have been on there. And there is still a month and a half between now and the draft where free agency is going to be a lot of money spent for the Titans. They're going to, we've spent so much time on how big a need these 3 positions are, far and away more than any other group. It is responsible GMing to say, okay, well, let's level the playing field a little bit so that I give myself some options and aren't married to doing things that are irresponsible. Let's raise the floor of edge. Let's raise the floor at cornerback.
Right.
This is the first of the moves that they're going to make at the other positions too. Is what
Correct.
I'm trying to say.
So, all right. So I went to the stick to the model. What I was trying to work on when things were freezing and not working. Stick to the model. I got to open up. I'm sure they're a busy site right now. So I worked in the moves that have happened recently. I extended Jeffrey Simmons. I extended Peter Skoransky. I cut Cushenberry. I cut Xavier Woods. I also cut L'Jarius Sneed because we know that's coming. Then I did the trade for Sweat for Jermaine Johnson. The Titans' current cap space after all of that is $124 million. And that's including the extension of Skoransky and the Johnson addition that lowers the cap.
Correct.
So if you did not extend, if you don't extend Skoransky, then that is more like north of 130. So 124 is what I have them projected at, according to Stick to the Model. You have a massive need at center now that wasn't there a day ago. You have a legitimately proven wide 9 edge. And now you have a somewhat of a hole at inside D lineman, right?
Yes.
But we think the D linemen are going to be replaced by probably a group of veterans because that is meant to be a rotational Jeffrey Simmons plus 3 to 4 guys that are just running in and out.
I mean,
right?
if you just want to read the tea leaves, it sounds like you could just throw John Franklin Myers already in there.
Sure.
Bring back Sebastian Joseph Day, John Franklin Myers. Anybody else got hyphenated
Jihad
names?
Ward, rock and roll.
Jihad Ward is probably the other
big end,
5 tech, right?
Well, one of them, yeah.
Yeah. So I think you're kind of working through that. So now I truly feel like if you draft David Bailey at 4th overall or Arvell Reese at 4th overall and Jermaine Johnson so you just trade away an asset and Sweat for Jermaine Johnson and then you use the 4th overall pick on the same place. The redundancy there when you have so many other needs is a little bit interesting.
It is, but we cannot underestimate this team, this GM's dedication to the trenches. Like every time I talk on or off the record to these guys, it's what it always comes back to. Every team talks about it this way, but I really think Mike puts his money where his mouth is on this. And what do we do every year at the Super Bowl? It's like, what lessons can we learn from the team that won? It's always like, oh, the trenches are kind of important. We just saw what the Seahawks did with a truly a hockey rotation setup with a group of rushers, by the way, that can, see if this rings a bell for any Robert Saleh fans out there, get home with 4. And that takes having bodies, it takes having depth, it takes having guys that can come in with fresh legs. I wouldn't be surprised if they lean into that really hard. I'm not saying they for sure will, but to your point, Austin, it definitely opens up their flexibility at the 4th overall pick, which is what they needed to do. So well done to Mike Borgonzi.
So, all right, how about this? And we have some super chats to get to, so we'll get to those here in a minute. The need at center, I think, is a big deal here. If you don't get Tyler Lindenbaum or a starting level center in free agency, what does that do to your draft needs? Because if you have to draft a center that you think can go start day 1, then 35 or 66 is where that player is going to have to be picked. Which is what have we been slotting there at 35 and 66?
Receiver and cornerback.
Right. So cornerback ain't going at 4. Carnell Tate can go at 4. So if you think, oh, damn, we got to get a center at 30. We have to save 35 for a center option. You just got Jermaine Johnson. Carnell Tate at 4.
Man, there's only one center worth taking at 35, and he can't play day 1. So, like, if you're not taking Connor Lewitt at 35.
So at least so now you can take a corner at 35.
Yes.
Right? So, but you have to at least, but what you're not taking at 35 is a wide receiver anymore.
Well, not necessarily.
If you have center, corner.
You're saying in a world where they definitely don't take edge in the first round.
Well, I'm just saying. So the two
like if they go edge in the first round, they can totally take a second round receiver.
The 2 positions they can go of these big need positions, and now centers enter the chat as the 4th. Of these 4 big positional needs, 2 of them are available at 4th overall. Whichever you take at 4th overall, you're not going to take at 35.
Yes.
Right?
We would assume.
So if you take and you just traded for a capable edge,
Double down at receiver would be fun though. I'm Captain Double Down, but
you can
I hear
double
what you're
down
saying.
at 35 and 66, but 4 and 35 is a lot to double down on.
If the board
has anybody
dictates it-
done that? Has anybody gone like two top 40 picks at one position?
I'm sure at any one position, yeah, definitely. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but
I mean, wasn't the Jets 2022 draft not McDonald? Who's the other one?
Will McDonald.
It was Will McDonald at 15, and then Jermaine Johnson at 26, and then Breece Hall.
They had
2
another
edge
pick.
rushers
They
and a
had
running
3
back?
first-round picks too.
I'm mixing up like where Garrett and Brees come in all of this because I know
Garrett Wilson. It was Garrett Wilson. No.
Garrett Wilson was the year before.
Hey, let's look it up. We have the internet.
Yeah.
Let's cut to a clip.
Okay. So just one of you guys do that.
No, I do. I feel pretty good about this. That in that draft they double. They,
Oh yeah, the Falcons. The Falcons last year.
Yeah, the Falcons
there
did
you
that as
go.
well. I mean, like,
And how'd that turn out for them?
Hey, it actually turned out.
Don't do that.
They had their.
One
They had
guy's
their
gonna go to jail.
okay, that part was not a part of the equation. All right,
was a
it
joke.
actually turned out for them
Pretty
well
good.
because they had their first decent pass
But
rush in my lifetime.
My point is, if you draft whatever position you draft at 4, you're not going to hit at 35 because you've got 3 other big needs. So I think now the 4th pick being Carnell Tate makes way more sense than it ever has been.
Definitely.
And then you can go 30. Look, there could be a pretty damn good edge you can get at 35 too.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a Jermaine Johnson type edge, like
Right. It'd be like a Romello height kind of deal.
I still think
Or an
either
Army
at
Mason
4
Thomas.
or 35.
Definitely.
There's also still just the positional value and the guys that are at the top of the draft at the edge, I think, are worth taking there instead of waiting at 101 or 66. I think there is still something to. I'm still going to look at the top of the board right now at 4. Let's say Bailey is gone, or Reese, or sorry, Bain and Bailey. Let's say one of the two is gone at 2. I still look at this board and I say, Bain/Bailey, Reese, Love, Tate. Like, I think those 2 edge
In that
rushers
order.
are still just better as a pick at 4 than a guy
The
like
offensive
Tate
options.
or Love currently for this team. And I think you can, like I was, alluding to with the offensive line last year with the Titans, they went super hard at that and tried to get it right with bringing in Dan Moore, with moving J.C. Latham over there. I think this is an opportunity for them to get it right, set and forget, and then use the rest of the draft to take a wide receiver or cornerback at 35 and do the same thing at 66, and then also potentially do it at 101.
Here's my final word on this. This is the first of a handful of moves that are going to change our perspective on this, right? If in a week, in 2 weeks, when free agency opens, the Titans land the top receiver or land a group of cornerbacks that make us feel very differently, like it's our perspective is going to shift a couple of times. This is the first instance of that. What the Titans had to do in the next 6 weeks was make some perspective-shifting moves that made us feel better about them going in a couple of different directions in the draft and not be handcuffed to this guy here, this guy here, this guy here, because that's responsible GMing. So well done to the Titans on that front, and I'm excited to see what else they do this offseason.
I do also want to there's also going to be some more curveballs. Like, there is an idea that, there are wide receivers on teams right now that I think become free agents, sorry.
That's all positions.
Yeah.
DJ Moore, I think, is one if they don't find a trade. They're going to have to do something with him. The buzz out of Chicago is that he's going to be somewhere else next year. Can the Colts afford to keep Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce? Those 2 guys, I think, are very real options to be free agents once the new league year opens in a couple of like a week and a half. So, like, I think we still have so much that is going to change. But draft philosophy-wise, I think at 4 in a draft like this, you still just have to go best player available. And I think, for me, the edge rushers are
Jeremiah
still
Love.
better players with the positional
Caleb
value.
Downs.
Caleb. I mean, we didn't even get to that.
Caleb Downs will probably be the best player available.
Honestly, that's not a bad decision now. I think that's what the last day has. The last 24 hours has. Why?
At this point, I think everything's
positional
on the
value is
table.
still a thing.
I think everything's on the table. You could tell me.
Yes, I agree.
They could take Caleb Downs right now, and I'd be like, that makes sense. They could take Jeremiah Love. I'd be like, that makes sense. They could go Carnell Tate there. That makes sense. They are now positioning themselves to have a bunch more options than they did literally an hour ago.
Ever since the Titans lost out on the number 1 overall pick, and they landed at 4, my gut feeling is whoever they take it for, they're going to slightly overdraft.
Correct.
Okay.
I still feel confident saying that.
I don't disagree with you.
I do disagree with you.
Okay.
I mean, I guess the one guy I would disagree with you on is, like, worth the 4th overall pick, but like the positional value doesn't work. Is I guess Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love. Like, I don't know if you can take.
That's what I'm saying. Like that because of the positions they play, you're slightly overdrafting them at 4th overall. So I think it's whether it's Bailey, Bain, because of they have like blemishes on their resume, Arvell Reese, who doesn't have the proven volume of reps at the edge position in college. That's still a slight maybe overdraft at 4. And then you mentioned Tate, Love, Downs. That's 7 guys, right? I think maybe 6. I can't remember how many I just named. But that you're slightly going to overdraft on.
Yes, there's not a guy that like doesn't have his question marks about him at 4, and that's kind of the nature of this draft in the first top 10. And that's
why I am more open, because they have more holes, because they cut Lloyd Cushenberry, they cut Xavier Wood. That's not that big of a deal, but it still matters. Like Caleb Downs, Kevin Winston Jr., and Amani Hooker as your safety trio in this type of offense.
Nice.
And a topic that we kind of have shelved at some point is what Robert Saleh said about the nickel position. Yep. That could be a Caleb Downs spot. That's very fascinating because of how smart and heady that Caleb Downs is. And you talk about the Matt Patricia defense with Arvell Reese. You talk about what that did for Caleb Downs, man, in that defense. He comes in and immediately upgrades your defense at many different levels of it. Then Jeremiah Love, because you still have to help Cam Ward.
Which,
Carnell
by the way,
Tate.
Shout out, if after you guys are done listening to this, just go listen to A to Z Jeremiah Love expert on 104.5 The Zone. He's talking about him right now.
That's right. I just texted him something. He wasn't responding to me, and I was annoyed, but I forgot that he's working.
So go listen to that after us.
All right, let's get to our super chats because you guys have podiums to get to. I have a meeting to get to. So
we've got a lot of stuff now on our docket.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up here. And all right, I'm trying to read these super chats that make sense because of the trade that happened with Devondre Sweat going to the Jets for Jermaine Johnson. All right, Elks comes in. Big Ten Jeff says, hot take, Titans draft Tate at 4, then either try to wait or dip back into the first for Caden McDonald at DT. Thoughts? Oh, yeah, you want 2 Ohio State players to go in the first round of the Titans. That makes a lot of sense.
I don't think McDonald's going to be there at 35.
That's what he's saying. Or you have to jump back into.
Gotcha. I'm sorry.
Titans are not going to do that. I don't see them trading back into the first for another pick. Austin Lammer's just saying.
I was going to say Mike Borgonzi still wants 12 top 100 picks. You're not moving up in the draft by any means, unless there is an unprecedented situation, and like anything can happen. But I don't think the philosophy backs that up.
All right, more super chats. Big Rich comes in here as we've ignored Finley way too much. Does he start? Is he a wide 9? Doesn't dictate what we do at edge. Bain versus Bailey, etc. I think we've talked some about Finley's role in this. I feel like based off of what's been said about Finley Oladejo the last couple of days from Saul and Borgonzi, to me he's a wide 9 attack guy that fits in their defense. So we'll see what happens to him. And then another one on the offensive side, Salah has talked about alleviating Superman pressure on Ward. Doesn't a pick like Love or even Tate do that? Signing Wan'Dale Robinson doesn't solve the issue. I mean, I think Jeremiah Love does that more than any of the receiver options, in my opinion. Alleviating
Sorry, what
Superman.
was that?
You're talking free agent free agent
alleviating
options or draft?
Superman pressure from Cam Ward. Jeremiah Love does more to alleviate pressure from Cam Ward than most receivers because it's just the run game
Most, for
aspect.
sure.
Yeah,
I would say that's pretty accurate, not because of the the Superman of it all, but what Brian Dable wants to do on offense. He wants to run the ball so that you can set up Cam to do those Superman things and not have to do it on his own.
That's my point.
I think that's fair.
Jeremiah Love, a commitment to the run game with that type of weapon.
With every passing minute, I'm talking myself more and more into Jeremiah Love at 4.
Man, I'm telling you, sign me up.
Coming up on hour 2. Jeremiah
This is
Love
hour
from
2.
Tennessee.
We are in hour
Austin,
2.
I will do. This is going to be bad news for Easton because we are absolutely having Ryan on the show tomorrow morning, and we will be talking about Jeremiah Love at 4.
Easton's going to get a cigarette. He's going to get a cigarette after that show.
I'm going to be sick that day.
More super chats. 2K Hub says trade back for Falk. He looks really nice now. The Auburn edge.
If you can find it, I'm all for it. I just have my questions about, are you going to be able to find a trade down spot? I don't think this draft really dictates the ability to do that. Unless, once again, Carnell Tate shows out at testing on Saturday. Like something happens where one of these wide receivers, one of these wide receivers does something so incredible that we haven't already seen that makes them worth going up. Actually, I'm taking that back. There is a way that you can trade back now. And this is the problem with
Save it.
Okay, I will.
Too much to do. Yeah. 2K, another one. Center is the second most important position on the O-line, especially with the young quarterback. Important for calling out protections. Brinks truck for Linderbaum, probably second or third highest need. Need a vet and free agency. I don't disagree with that. And then another one. Young QB versus young center equals massive protection issue. To kind of triple down. Yeah. All right, that is it for us. A long show because we had the breaking news for Devondre Sweat's trade. I know Easton, you were going. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
He hit the right button.
I was gonna make fun of you for making a whole deal out of the board and then not touching it once. So.
And then he made it. He saved it for it counted most.
All
right, hit that like button. Like the show, please. A lot of you guys watching on YouTube. Hit that like button. That goes a long way for us. And we'll have way more content throughout the rest of the day. So check out for those and more content. A2Zsports.com/Titans for Easton's reaction to the Devondre Sweat trade and more from the NFL Combine from all of us. So we'll catch you guys later on. Appreciate it as always. Make sure you hit that like button. Like the show. Bye.